¿Cómo estás, muchachos y muchachas? ¡Ay, muy bien! Yeah, that's my intro right there. What's up, guys? Welcome. For anyone who doesn't know, that was Spanish for come on in, everybody. Hey, guys, what's up? Okay. So, guys, we got a diamond level PVZ, or rather ZvP, because we're looking at the Zerg's perspective today. This is replay analysis. And if you don't know what it is, basically, we help somebody get better at StarCraft. And today is Catalyst. Catalyst. Leet speak with a Z. We're going to be helping him get better at StarCraft. So if you want to learn from this as well, you're a Zerg player, this might apply to you as well. We'll see. We'll basically look at what he does, see what he does right, see what he does wrong, and we'll help him figure out how to keep doing things that are correct, how to maybe improve upon them, and how to stop doing things that are really poor and incorrect. Efficiency. We're going to help him discover himself as a Zerg player. Alright, so your larva, not bad so far. Good shit. Good job, Catalyst, so far. Hell yeah. How long is this? 12 minutes? Okay, not bad. Okay. Not so bad. You're spinning larva well. Oh god. Yeah, you're wasting 5 minerals. Okay? Those 5 minerals are... It's a sacrifice to the mineral god. It's okay, that's not a big deal. It's not that big of a deal. Alright. Now, cancel the hatch, turn that shit in, and then build it. Okay, so now you got a 16 hatch, followed by an 18 maybe gas. Or you're probably doing B2GM. Yeah, if you build a pool right now, oh no, it's gas, okay. So this is speed links. So 16, 18, 17, this is totally fine. It's very standard. I like the 16 hatch against Protoss. It makes sense. So far, so good. And if you go speed links, we'll talk about your gas in a minute. But yeah, so far, so good. Your larva spinning is definitely good. I'm very proud of you because you're definitely 5 SDing. I can totally tell. Or you're rather 1 SDing. You're not waiting until you have multiple larvae at the same time. Like if I see your larva, or rather your eggs, at different production cycles, you're crushing it. A lot of people fucking wait, build 3 at once, and I'm just like, no. This is not good. I'm sorry. Good shit so far. And you prioritize. You once again sacrifice the minerals. That's the second round. That's 10 minerals down the toilet. You had a drone waste its minerals to go into the gas. Be careful about that. You want to know a trick? Yo, chat, you want to know a trick? If you ever go like this, and you green box 3 drones, and you right click a gas, you want to know a fun trick? If you hit C on the keyboard for cargo, what will happen is the drone, you'll tell the drone to mine the gas, and then you hit C. The drones will turn in the minerals, and then they will walk right to the gas. Because the way the AI works is, if you tell them to mine the gas, the drone will mine the gas, and then if you tell them to return cargo, they'll return what is in their hands, and then do the previously assigned task, which is, I have minerals in my hands, but I was told to mine the gas just now. I'll turn that shit into the hatchery, and then now I'll go to the fucking gas. You don't even have to shift click. Yeah, you do not have to shift click. You don't have to do that. You literally just hit C, and it will tell the drone to go do the last task you gave it. So, although it's not like the end of the game for you to waste 5 minerals like that, it will help you if you definitely just kind of hit C and you don't waste it. It's not necessary to waste it. So that's a little tip. And now the fact that you're ripping off your mineral line, you went down to 14 drones a second ago, and then a new one spawned to go back to 15, but you're prioritizing the gas. I agree with this. If you're going to be aggressive at all, if you're going to try and do something like run adepts down and kill them, or if you're going to like try and maybe poke the natural, do a run by, if you're going to do aggressive things with Zerglings. However, if you're just going to make like 4 lings to zone out an adept, if in case it happens, or maybe like 6 or 8, like once you have speed, and you're going to play defensive with queens, I disagree with you taking off of the mineral line. So we'll see how you play it out. But if you're going to go for like, let's say a 3rd base defensive, I think you should actually maintain full saturation of the mineral line so you can get a faster 3rd. Because the speed is not going to save or kill your drones. It's really just about positioning at that point. Like, you're still going to get speed either way relatively fast. It's just you're going to be able to get a faster 3rd if you prioritize the mineral line longer. But if you go for really fast speed, if you're going to do some type of a pressure build or an all-in or an aggressive type of thing, then it makes more sense to prioritize gas. It's how it always is. So it doesn't make sense if you, if you're doing the defensive version, try not to just prioritize your gas, unless you're going for a timing. It'll just put you behind. Okay. Your queens are started. Good shit. I want your overlord to move maybe like right there for now. And the reason why. Okay, here's what you should do now. If you saw this, okay, I'm going to tell you right now, you can already tell what his build is. So let's just talk about what I want you to do first, a second ago. I would have said I would have wanted you to move your overlord like maybe like right there. And the reason why, or maybe even like right there, it's so that you can react to adepts faster. So you can always have your lings in front of your queen if you build a creep tumor or something like that, so the adept doesn't get to come over for free and snipe the tumor. Stuff like that. It just makes it easier not to be like, whoops, he just killed my creep tumor, because it's pretty big if you're going to go for a third. These kinds of things are important. So having a little bit of overlord spread in front of your base is nice. And you could also maybe even use it with, you could actually do this with your third overlord and maybe have your second overlord actually go to the back of his base so you can have a backup scout. Now, let's talk about this for a second. That was before you saw this. Now, when you see this, every Zerg should feel like this, okay? You should, there's not a single Zerg should, I guess if you're like platinum or below, you should do the B to GM stuff if you're learning from that as well already, because don't get crazy if you don't know what you're doing really. Just follow like a simple like process. But if you're diamond plus, which is what this is, if you see this, you should already know this is how this is. A cannon costs 150 minerals. This is now 600 minerals in cannons. A Nexus costs 400. That is now going to 1,000. And this is now 1,100 for the 100 of a pylon. This is 1,100 minerals that you can see that he has built right now in your face. Okay? And then now for him to build a cannon, it means he has to have a forge. And there is no forge here, which means he has to have a second pylon. So this has to be 1,200 minerals now to add on 100 for the second pylon, and 1,350 for the forge. 1,350 minerals already. You know what this tells me? This tells me that he has not made a gas, and this tells me he has not made a gateway. Because if you look at your build, you have 200 minerals and overlords. You have 350 in a hatchery, because you also have to include the fact that the drone is sacrificed for it. So that is now 550. You have 800, because 250 for the 250 for the pool. That's now 800. You have 75 for the gas. That's now 875, and that doesn't even match what you see here. And the reason why that doesn't match what you see here is because you've been mining gas. So if you think about this like that, you know you should. And then also you made you made 300 minerals and queens. So that's 1175. So 1175 still doesn't match what you've seen here. And again, it's because you're mining gas. So if you look at it this way and you go, well, again, you don't have to do the math like this either, guys. You do not have to do the math. You just have to know that this is fucking crazy expensive, what he's already done. And you should know that there's nothing else in the game for him like that. There's nothing, like, if you're like, well, ViBE, he's already got oracles coming to my base. He hasn't even fucking started a gateway. If he has started a gateway, it probably just started. I bet if I look at everyone's vision, there is not a core under construction. There's probably a gateway being started, because I bet this dude probably opened up Nexus first, then he made a pylon, Nexus, forge, pylon, cannon. That's what I bet he probably did. Now if I look at this, pylon, forge, like, let's go back to his build. Just watch the opener. It's gonna be pylon, forge, or pylon, Nexus, forge, cannon. The fact that the Nexus is done as well already means he made it first. If the Overlord got there and the Nexus wasn't done, then you would know he didn't make the Nexus first. But it's going to be Pylon Nexus. Pylon, now there will be a Nexus, and then it will be a Forge. And then it will be a second Pylon, and then it'll be 4 cannons. Now it's a Nexus, now it's going to be a Forge, now it's going to be a second Pylon, now it's going to be 4 cannons. And you know this based off build times. And you know this based off of costs. So if you looked at that build and you're Diamond Plus and you can read that like that, and you can go, wow, I know what he did. I know what he did. Then you don't have to be like what I would tell you to do is literally stop mining all your gas. Stop mining gas. The only time, the only exception I would say to keep mining gas with would be maybe if you made like a Roach Warren and went for a Ravager pressure. But just be careful about things like that, because if you react by doing aggression versus someone you didn't know that was going to do something like this right away, so your reaction is like 40 seconds or something later than it would be if you just rushed it in the first place, blindly. Doing reactions of all-ins is kind of scary because you give your opponent more time to defend the all-in. So it's not always the best choice, especially in Legacy of the Void when you have things like shield batteries, and like you can overcharge a battery and stuff like that, because he'll have more time to set stuff up like that in your face. Like, it's kind of scary to just react to all-ins. Now, with that being said, A great way you could 100% have a chance to punish this would be when it happened and you saw the 4 cannons. We'll go back to it now. When you saw this right here, okay? When you're like, oh wow, look at this 4 cannon Nexus done already. When you saw that, a great reaction for you would have been right here. Stop mining gas. Literally, all 3 drones, take them off. Don't even start speed. Who gives, like, why you need speed? There's no adepts now. And if you're making speed defensively for adept defense, why? Who cares? It's not happening for a long time. If you reacted to it in a way where you went, let's take a 3rd base and maybe even take a 4th base. That'd be fucking awesome. Because, and you just made drones for like the next 2-3 minutes of this game. All the way to like 4.5, 5 minutes. There's nothing this guy can do to you. Literally nothing he can do. He hasn't even started a gateway. So it means his tech path hasn't even started by like over 2 minutes now. Which means at the earliest, if he makes like an oracle, that would not hit you until like 1 oracle would not hit your base if it's not, unless it's proxied like right there. It would not hit your base until probably 4.5, 5 minutes, which is exactly how long I told you to make probes for. And if you were to do any type of like a gateway all in, those would not hit your base until like literally at this point now, like 6 to 7 minutes. Like you have so much time to react to this now. So we'll see how you react to it yourself, but those cannons, just let him turtle in 2 bases and just go, like, at this point, like, spend all your money on hatcheries and drones and stuff, and then once you have a little bit of extra minerals, then start gas, and then, or start your speed with your gas that you already have, and then, like, deny his 3rd base. And there's no way you could lose this game. That is the easiest way you could react to this right now. Now, let's see what you do. Let's just see what you do. So you chill. I don't even think you need to scout his base anyways, because you should already know what he's doing if you pay attention to the fact that the Nexus is first, and this cannon investment, that's huge. But you start speed, you take 2 off gas. That's okay. I'm not going to say that that's horrible. And then you love throwing your resources away. You're crazy. That's okay. You're going to take, I like that you're taking a fast 3rd. I do like that. The fact that you're scouting for proxies around your bases, I don't think this is not a bad habit to have. This is definitely kind of nice to be able to, if you make it a habit to do this, it'll definitely maybe find proxies in certain games, but you should know already that this is not a proxy. It's physically impossible for him to have a proxy on your base because this is too expensive. If you understand how much, this is why it's really important once you're in Diamond League. I would say Diamond, if you're a Diamond player, or if you're a Masters player, and you have not actually committed anything to memory in terms of how much shit costs, you should start trying to do that. Because if you can look at this and go, yep, this is 1100 minerals. If you can just tell that number at the top of your head right there, that's going to give you such a better understanding of what shit costs. And again, the fact that there is not a 2nd pylon here and you don't even see a forge, but this requires a forge, that's another 250 on top of that. This is very, very, very useful information to just look at it and go, I could already tell you what his build was. Like how we just did a minute ago. Like I already know what it is, so I already know there's not a proxy. You should know that as well. Like you should know that if you just know what shit costs. So always commit that to memory. Try to learn the costs of things in StarCraft, like the cost of units, the cost of buildings, because you can tell what someone's build is by the range of what they're capable of, by looking at what they have. Alright, so you make your 3rd base. I love it. I would definitely have advised you to do that. I also would love it if you just make drones now. If you make any lings now, I think it's a mistake. Here's the crazy thing too. I know I tell people normally if you ever go for a speed link expand, you need to spread that creep tumor first. But this is one of those exceptions. Like the fact that you made 2 lings, or you actually made, sorry, you made 4 lings, and the fact that you made a creep tumor first, this is not necessary. This game specifically, because this guy's already shown you what he's doing. So those are 2 things that are setting you behind now. The fact that you got the gas, that is another thing that's going to set you a little bit farther behind now. And the fact that you still have a drone mining gas, that is another thing that's going to set you behind a little bit more now. Because you're playing safe versus someone that's playing ridiculously greedy. Like the fact that he went Nexus first is super greed, and then he's going complete opposite into ultra defense with cannons, which cannot move around the map and attack you. So this is probably a player, I would imagine, that's going to go Nexus first, cannons, Stargate. He's probably going to go like really fast Sky Toss or something. That would be my guess. Doesn't have to be that, but it's probably what he's going to do. Probably. So the fact that you're, I mean, I'm glad you're still making drones though. That's important. That makes me happy. You definitely need to make drones. It's just you could do it a little faster because there's zero pressure. Zero pressure coming out of him right now. You're making lings again. Yeah, see what I'm talking about? Like you're basically, I understand what you're doing is you're following a sequence. Okay, and I'm gonna say this right now. I don't really mind that you're following a sequence because your build, even though it's following a sequence, is still just efficient. You're still doing an efficient, safe build. So you're not actually in a terrible spot right now. But you could be, if you just reacted to this, you could be in a way better spot because what you're doing is you're playing safe standard. You're having absolutely no reaction to what the Protoss has done. So now that you're in Diamond League, I would say you definitely want to start committing to memory. What the hell is going on with the Protoss? Like actually scout him a little bit and try to make an intelligent reaction that might alter your build slightly in a way that is going to counter what he's doing. And if he's playing ultra defensive, safe turtle greed, like if he's going Nexus first into just cannons, that is the perfect opportunity for you to be greedy. There's nothing that will punish your greed. So no reactionary play from you so far. So in general, I would say if you can read builds a little bit better, and the way to start doing that is the thing to work on is, like I said before, start working on understanding what shit costs, what his buildings cost, what units in this game cost. If you can start reacting and realizing what shit costs, you'll have a better understanding of what's going on, and you could be greedier. But still, overall, you're playing really safe. You don't need to play safe. You're putting your build a slower pace to his by doing this a little bit, but overall, you're still ahead of him because his build is not as efficient as it should be. The fact that he made 4 cannons this fast is not good. I'm just going to throw it out there. That is very inefficient. Like, your safe play is more efficient than his ultra turtle play, but he still went Nexus first. It's just, again, I'm not saying you're doing a slower pace than him. I'm just saying you're a slower pace than you could be if you reacted to this properly. That's all I'm trying to say. Would you say the other races... playing the other races? No, you don't need to play the other races. I don't think you need to play the other races to understand this. Because you know what you could do? If you play this game, and then you go... Like, for instance, like what I would do if I were you, is I would go, oh, look, he... like, let's say you watch this replay. Okay? Just watch this replay. Yourself, in the future. A game like this. And then you watch it up to, like, the first 4 minutes. Alright? You go to, like, just make your timer, like, 4 minutes. Because 4 minutes is a great... I think 4 minutes is wonderful for a clock to have to give you an indicator of if your opener was shitty or good. Because 4 minutes is a very huge aspect of your opening play. It's a lot of time that has gone by now. Now, if you got to this point and you went, okay, what do I have? I have 52 supply. He's got 37. Worker count. I got 33. He's got 34. And then you go, okay, I got I got some creep, I got some queens, I got some lings, I got a third base. He doesn't have a third. I can see it with my lings. And then you can ask yourself, was this a good opener? Just ask yourself, was this a good opener? And I would say, honestly, for you, if I was to tell you, honestly, if this was a good opener or not for you, I would say, yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was fine. So if you take this away and go, was it good or bad? You could say it was good, and then you could like... But here's the thing. Just because it's good doesn't mean it's like, don't need to fix that anymore. You should always look at everything you do at how you can make it more efficient. So although I think this is good, it's not a bad position for you to, at all right now. Could there be a way you could have made this better? Always think about that. Always think about how you can improve things. This is how like higher level players stay at higher level. Is they always adapt to whatever the fuck is happening and the meta, or this is obviously not meta by him, but they always adapt to whatever is happening to them all the time. You adapt constantly. You never just stop doing that. So if you think, okay, my build is pretty good because I'm in a good spot, could I have made it better? I would ask you, do you really need speed right now? And do you really need all these lings right now? Like, do you really? His cannons can't move. He's making more cannons in his base right now. And then he opened up Forge first. So if you really think about it, and you go, well, okay, in the future, do I really need to make lings against someone who opens up cannons like this? You could tell yourself no. And then you could do it through a system of like trial and error, through experimentation. And the next time you play against somebody who goes cannons like this early, you make fucking drones. Just make drones and like delay your speed until maybe you start speed at like 3:30 or 4 minutes instead of starting it at like 2 minutes. And then suddenly that game, you're going to be like, instead of at 34 drones and 52 supply, you might be at like 44 drones and like 55 supply, because you can just have more money to work with, and maybe you have like another queen already and another hatchery again, like I was talking about. You just are further ahead in economy. And you're like, well, do I need lings then either? No, not really. And then suddenly you've just learned a sequence that you could adapt to. So you can tailor your build that is standard opening with a reaction once you see it, and then you can react to it, and then you can be more greedy, and because there's nothing he can do to punish you. And you can literally, when you look at a replay too, you can do this. You can literally do this. You can be like, well, he opened up with cannons. You can click the probe. You can hit B on it in a replay. This is way faster than playing the race yourself. It's about time efficiency. So for me to understand a probe cannon, like a Protoss's photon cannon, costs 150 minerals, I could literally play the race for 2 weeks, or I could go into replay for 2 seconds and go like this. Build, cannon. Oh, it's 150 minerals, and it's a 29-second build time. It's like a flashcard game. Like, it's a game of memory. Like, oh, cool. I'm not expecting you to just know that forever now, but you can refresh your memory every time you play against it. And you can do the same thing if you play against somebody who goes like 4-gate zealots. You're like, how much does a zealot cost, and how much does a gateway cost? Gateway costs 150. A zealot costs 100. 2 supply. Like, these are things you can look at in a replay that saves you so much fucking time rather than actually playing the race. So you do not need to play the race to like learn this shit. Because I'm going to tell you guys right now, it's a misconception. If you think playing random makes you better at playing the whole game because now you understand the races better, it is a complete, that's a misconception of the game, I feel like, because what actually is the real thing. The difference of playing the race and executing a timing is completely different. It's a completely different feeling to playing against a timing and defending it. It is not, you're not going to be like, well, I'm really good at doing like this, like Immortal all into Zerg, and I just know the ins and out of it for Protoss. But then when you play Zerg, and you have to then play the whole different sequence of it, which is how do you discover it? How can you scout it better? How can you then react to it once you have seen it? How can you actually, like, you know, how do you figure out that's what's happening in the first place? And then how do you react? It's a different game entirely. It's not the same thing. Because people who think that playing random means that you're good at all races then, that there is I'm not going to lie, there is a tiny bit of crossover there where you start to understand how to punish the other player better because you get ideas from other Zergs or something. If you're a Zerg main and you play Protoss now, you're off racing, and another Zerg punishes you in a way that's fucking annoying when you're playing Protoss, and you've never done that yourself, it gives you ideas how to do that as well. So it gives you more ideas, but it's not the same thing as just knowing what your opponent's always doing, because you're assuming you're playing the game with 100% information, and you never, that's the biggest thing about StarCraft is it's misinformation. So you can't just play Protoss and go, well, I know how to do this timing, so now that I'm Zerg, I know how to always kill that timing. Because when you're Zerg, what it really is you have to understand how to read the timing, which is a different kind of game entirely. And if you don't read the timing and you wait too long, you die anyways. Just if you don't know something's happening, you're still gonna die. Yo, Tall, thank you very much for the 17 months resub. Much love, dude. So yeah, the point is yeah, I definitely don't think you need to play the other race to figure this out. Just like commit it to memory, like what shit costs. And now we're gonna go further forward. So we spent a lot of time on that. But yeah, you can take like the first 4 minutes and figure out like if your build is efficient or not. Whenever you take a game where like you're not really sure if it was good or bad. And then again, it'll start, if you start thinking about thinking about it like this, it'll start putting your brain in this like critical thinking aspect where you'll always start thinking of efficiency. So I'm gonna pause it right now and I'm gonna say this. Just to throw this out there, I've been a gamer my whole life, and I don't give a shit if I win or lose a game. Every single time I play any game, it doesn't matter what game it is either, any fucking game, I will always look at whatever I'm doing, if there's a stat or a number that correlates to it, and I will think to myself, I bet I could do that better. How can I do that better? Think about ways to improve this. I will never just be like, that was fucking great. I'm good. Like that, I don't need to improve. That was perfect already. No, I will think about ways I can improve. How can I improve? How can I improve? What can I do better? How can I improve? How can I improve? And if I think about it like that all the time, I will continuously improve because I will always have an urge to want to make what I do better. And then once you do that enough, you will actually start to understand what perfection is, and you'll never attain it. It's impossible to be perfect. In a game like StarCraft. In other games, maybe, yeah, sure. When it's like you have to hit like one button and you're done, sure. But in a game like StarCraft, it is physically impossible to be perfect. So it's about trying to strive to be closer to that every time. Like all these links, like what's the point of all these links? That's my like this is the kind of shit I'm talking about. You just made 32 lings. This is putting you so far behind. Like if you think about it logically and you go, this dude is cannon turtling right now. Why do I need lings? And my guess would be, like, if you're in Diamond League, you're probably thinking to yourself, dude, he could fucking kill me. Like, I don't know what he's doing. But you do. You know he's making cannons, and he went Nexus first. You know he has no way to do a timing to you. So, that, you know, those are things you have to pay attention to in the future. All these lings right here are just going to sit here for, like, 3 minutes and do nothing. Like, his earliest thing he could do to attack you would be, like, seriously, like, 3 minutes. Or, from now. Like, or from a little bit earlier. Like, 6 to 7 minutes is what I called earlier, because that's... If you were to take a gateway after doing this opener like that, 6 to 7 minutes would be, like, the earliest type of a timing he would hit you with on the ground. The only thing he could hit you with faster would be, like, a Stargate, and suddenly, also, these lings are useless against a Stargate. If you were to do that. And you're rushing a Bane Nest, taking a layer. Your larva's kind of stacking up a bit. A little bit. Definitely a little bit more efficient on the larva spinning. I feel like if you just have a game plan here, you definitely would be doing this faster. And you are doing it decently. You're taking a 4th base. This is a nice... Overall, for standard play, this is a very nicely timed 4th. If you can hit 66 drones by 6 minutes, I'd be very happy. You could definitely hit it faster this game, because there's no reason to play safe at all. But let's see at 6 minutes now. Your larva's slowly getting spent. You still have a bunch of larvae. So I'm gonna give you a quota here. With standard safe play, okay? Standard safe play. You should be at 66 drones by 6 minutes. If you can scout anything from your opponent, though, that re-incentivizes you to be extra greedy, 66 drones by 6 minutes is a bad timer now. That's like kind of slow. Because your opponent's cutting corners himself, so you should cut corners too. That's how StarCraft works. So if you see your opponent does something like this in the future, the quota I would have for you for 66 drones would not be 6 minutes. It would instead be like 5:30. I 100% guarantee you could have hit 66 drones by 5:30. Skipping safe, would that be like skipping safety lings? Yes. I'm gonna, like, again, what is the reason why you feel like you need safety lings in a game like this? You have absolute vision of what's going on. You know before you even made lings here. And again, this is not, I'm also, sorry, I'm not talking to the guy at Catalyst right here. I'm talking to someone else in the chat. I'm just saying you as like an indirect, like the person who would be playing a game like this, not specifically Catalyst. But in general, if you were playing a game and before you have even started your 4 lings and your queens, your Overlord gets here, and you see 4 cannons already started. Like, they're not done either. The cannons are all being built, though, which means he's already spent the money for it. Why would you need safety lings? That is not the moment of being like, well, he's going to fucking do Adepts. No one who's going to go Adepts is ever going to do that. That's because, and the reason why I'm going to say he's never going to do that, it's not because it's like, oh, well, it's just not likely that he's going to do it. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to go cannons and go Adepts. No, he's not going to do it because it's impossible. Basically, if he were to have Adept pressure on you and also go Nexus first 4 cannons, that'd be like saying you have $10 in your hand and then trying to pay for something that costs $100. And then someone's like, dude, you're like $90 short. And you're like, no. This is good enough. Like, no, that's only a 10. You need 100. No, this is good. I can afford this. This is a good 10. Like, no, it's 10 though. You don't understand. 10 is not 100. No, it's good though. It's a good 10. Okay? It's quality. Can you see the corners of it? It's good. No, it's fucking 10 though. It's not 100. You can't afford it, is my point. This is so much money, as we talked about earlier. You can't just pull money out of your ass however you want it to be. You have limitations in this game. Everybody starts with 12 workers. So it's physically impossible to be pressured while also he's doing this. You can't afford it. It's impossible. Yo, thank you very much for the continuation of that sub. 1-2 ace. Much love, man. I don't mind your spores right now. That's fine, because he could go Stargate with this, because at this point now, this is much later, and you have not scouted anything in the main base. There could totally be a Stargate. I don't mind your spore timing. I'm really glad you made it now, though, once you were already fully saturated on 3 bases, and I'm glad you didn't make it. I'm glad you did not make it at like 2 minutes or something like that, when you only had like 23 drones or some shit, and you're like, spores up, holy fuck. Like when you were scouting the map, if you made spores then too, I would have been very disappointed. I'd be like, well, you're just really fucking yourself. But spore timing here is, I agree with it, it's fine. It's just like blind safeness when you can afford it and it's not going to slow you down that much. That's fine. This is so many lings though. You don't need this. Like you could make it now, once you already had a good saturation. Like if you made it now, here's the thing: if you actually made these lings later on, when you actually could have used them then, but you made drones first before you made all these lings, you could have been fully saturated for a lot longer. And your supply right now, instead of 125, could be like at 155. And instead of having 56 lings, you could have like 96 lings and already like 10 hydras or something. You could afford so much more if you just drone first. In a normal game, and if this is a normal game, again, if you were playing a normal game, your build is actually paced pretty decent. It's not bad. Your standard play is not bad. See, I don't want you to feel like your standard play is bad. This, for a standard game, is not bad. Your creep spread is good. I would say the only thing I dislike that I've seen so far is your larva sometimes is like that, where it's just fucking high. And I know you're supply blocked right now, but this is not the first time this has happened. You've had a few instances of high larva that has taken a while to get spent. And if you could fix that, that'd be great. But it hasn't even been that bad either. I definitely think you're very diamond capable with your macro. But you're not playing at all with reaction to what he's doing. Like there's zero reactions to what he's doing. And now he's going DTs. Like you're gonna just, if you go Banes here, the fact that you're making Banes now against DTs is actually not bad. But if he makes these into Archon, if he made these into Archons, you should definitely not commit too hard to Banes. You should just go mass Hydras. But the point is this guy's build is awful. This guy's build is fucking awful. I'm not gonna lie, it's really bad. And if you just played it a little bit greedier, you could have easily just crushed him. You're still gonna crush him either way, but there's what I'm noticing from you though is there is zero reaction. There is zero reaction from you about how his build is being set up. Like you're not paying it. Like it doesn't matter if he goes air, if he goes ground, if he goes greedy, if he goes all in. You're gonna do the same thing every time. So now that you're Diamond League, you're gonna have to start. And I know you said you're also Diamond 3, so you're brand new to Diamond, but you're gonna have to start reacting to what's going on a little bit more now that you're in Diamond League. More reactions are needed. And just again, this is why the Diamond is probably the hardest league in StarCraft for a new player, because this is when the game starts getting a lot harder, where you actually have to start like thinking about what you're doing. Your Spire is too early. You should pair the Spire with the Hive, not pair it with the Infestation Pit. Okay, what happened here? And the fact that you saw these DTs, you should definitely make an Overseer. Definitely make an Overseer. You gotta be really careful though. I can already see a problem that's gonna happen for you. If you don't react at all, the fact that you make Banelings, it's not bad. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not bad right now. He's making Zealots and DTs. Both of those get destroyed by Banes. But if you make Banelings, and if he goes like Archons or Immortals or Sentries, and you just make Banes like this anyways, you're gonna get fucked up. Like you're gonna have a bad day. You gotta be careful. Like, if this is your standard, just make sure you understand the concept of if your opponent has something good against Banelings, maybe don't go heavy Banelings. Maybe instead go heavier on like the Hydra side with a Lingbane Hydra style. I'm not even telling you necessarily that you have to go Roach Hydra. You could go Lingbane Hydra. That's fine. It's just, if like again, your opponent went DTs. If he would have went for Archons instead, and then you're going mass Lingbane, and you're having a very tiny Hydra count because you're spending a lot of your gas on Banes instead. It takes, I don't even know how much it's going to be. I haven't done the math in my head yet. With how many Banes it would take to kill, like with the new nerfed Baneling that's going to come out as well. How many Banes it would take to kill an Archon. But it's going to take a lot of Banes, is my point. It's going to take probably like 25 Banes or some shit. Or like 21 Banes. Like it's fucking awful efficiency. That's really bad. And that's one Archon. If he splits his Archons up a little bit, that is awful. There's a balance patch coming. Yeah, there's like talking about nerfing Baneling damage again against non-light units. The point is you have to just pay attention to the fact if you make Banelings, you have to be very careful if you're wasting it or not. Like for instance, if you were playing against like Bio, Marines and stuff, and Marine Medevac, Banes would be great. Banes would be awesome. But if you're playing against someone who's going like mech and he already has like 10 fucking tanks and you're just making mass Banes, the only way that would ever work is if you could actually have enough Banelings with a ridiculously bigger economy than your opponent, which I'm not going to lie, this game, that is actually the case. So in a game like this, yeah, you can make Banes all day and win the game. That's very fair. Because this guy's build sucks balls. His build is very, very, very turtly. He rushed a Nexus because he wanted to get fast economy, and then he just sat there all game on 2 bases. Forever. His build's not good. It's very not efficient. The fact that he only has 37 probes at 9 minutes and he went Nexus first is very low. So you can make Banes no matter what you're playing against if your economies look like that, and you'll win every time. It does not matter because they just won't have enough. They will not have enough against you. But just know if someone's playing actually efficient, if you both play efficient and you make Banes at the wrong time, you're going to feel like your life is really hard. The only way Banes work when it's bad unit comps, if like you're playing against mass tanks or something, is if you can somehow find an opening to kill workers. Then it can work. You just have to break their economy if Banes make no sense. Because Banes always make sense to break economy, but you have to be careful with how you engage the opponent though, because you could just run them into death. Like if you run 30 Banes into 7 tanks and like 1 Bane connects to 1 depot and you just light it on fire a little bit, that's going to be awful. You're going to just waste your money. So you got to be careful about that shit. And again, the fact that he has mass DTs, Templar, you have to be careful because he can make Archons out of that, and if he's intelligent, he should make Archons. I don't know why the hell he would use DTs against mass Banes. Because all you need is an Overseer and suddenly you win the game. So we'll see what you do now. But again, your macro's not bad overall for Diamond. I do think it could be a little bit more efficient with your Larva sometimes, but overall not bad, dude. Your mechanics are not bad. Your mechanics are definitely looking, like your creep spread especially, your creep spread's looking like Masters League. I will say this though, you have not been pressured yet, and creep spread under pressure is way harder to spread than creep spread that is just free to do whatever it wants. But the fact that you can actually spread creep like this, that you're not being pressured, but you can still spread creep like this, your creep spread is actually, I think, your best aspect of your gameplay. Your creep spread is great. It's wonderful. I like your creep spread a lot. It's Masters level, I would say. Keep doing that. Keep that up. Definitely a positive aspect of your gameplay, and it will definitely help you in the future. I think your scouting needs a lot of improvement, though. Like the fact as well that you still have no Overseer here. You have no reaction. Okay, it's coming now. But you also have not scouted this at all yet. And if you just run into this blindly, this is awful. I think that's what you're going to do, too. You're just going to run blindly into this fight. You need to start... Maybe... I would say the best way to do this, in general, would be maybe run like 1 Ling at him. Just 1. And just see where he's located. And if you can, maybe like abuse locations. Or like run a Changeling at him. Because if you take fights that are just blind like this... I do think you can still win games in D3 like this, Diamond 3. But I do think that's going to be a bad habit for you in the future. So my best recommendation to you would be with the way you engage fights. Let's see what you do, and then I'll tell you what I think you should do. If you just engage the ramp, though, I think it's a mistake. Because it's scary. It's like very, yeah. You engage with all your Lings. Like if this dude had Storm on the high ground or some shit, or like, you know, something on the high ground that could fuck you over. A few Sentries with Force Field with Archons. Like you could just throw away your whole army. You gotta be very careful about how you just throw your units at him. So, the way you just scouted them with all your Lings, maybe just scout with like 1 Ling or a Changeling. And then if you see something that you can take advantage of, take advantage of it. And if you're maxed out, you can then engage with a lot of stuff. But maybe, here's a great piece of information, okay? Here's a way that you could do it in a very easy way that's very efficient and not wasteful. If you were maxed out like you are, and there was a base here, and you set 1 Ling at it and you went, yep, there's a base there, or his army's here, he's defending a base. And you're like, I want to engage this. You know what you could do? You could green box half of your army. Try to get like half your Banes, half your Hydras, and half your Lings. And go like this. Right click over here, and then right click down here. So you have half your army like right there, half your army like right here. And now when you engage, suddenly your surface area is that and that. You have a much bigger engagement. But if you have 200 supply of units, and you just blindly move up a ramp, and he's standing here with Archons and maybe Templar, all that you're going to do is you're going to run up a ramp blindly, and he's going to go like storm, and Archons are just going to kill so much of your shit, and you're just going to be like, well, time to run back and run away after I just lost like 80 supply. Because I just got AoE'd and a choke point. So you need to start setting up, like try to actually set up fights before they happen. So I'm not telling you to micro during a fight. I'm just telling you to set up a fight, to pre-micro it. It's called pre-micro. You just micro your units before there's actually pressure there. And what that does is it applies more pressure to your opponent, because now suddenly your immovable army is twice as efficient as it was before, just because you gave yourself more surface area. That's it. So now suddenly 1 or 2 storms here doesn't hit everything, it hits only chunks of it, because you have a lot more shit over here too. It makes him have to expend more AoE all over the place, which is what counters your build. Is AoE. That's what counters your build. So try not to be as crazy with the way you engage. And now also you're maxed out. So if you're maxed out and he's 2 bases like this, now I would definitely be like, yeah, you definitely want to come over here and engage. And one of the best ways you can engage this is maybe leave a chunk of your army over here. You could even have Hydras kill the rocks out of range of the cannons, and then you could have a chunk of your army over here and you can engage them. And I would say this is the one time I hope you don't do this every game, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is the correct move this game. He has still not made Archons, and he has Blink DTs, and he's shown you that like 2 times now. The fact that you're making Banelings in heavy numbers here is totally fine here, because Banes are going to destroy his Zealots and his DTs like really fucking hard, and you're reacting to the fact that he still only has DTs. I think this is okay. This is totally fine. If he had Archons though, and you made Banes like this, I would disagree with you. I'd be like, why? You don't really need Banes right now. You just need more like Hydras. But yeah, I agree with the fact that you're making more Banes because it's good against what he has. And now you're just going to win. Overall, your standard play is not bad. Your reactionary play needs a lot of work. If you would have shown me a game where the Protoss played standard, I would not have seen that. And I wouldn't have known. Like, I would have just been like, yeah, you're playing great, dude. Standard play is great. If you played standard as well and you won the game doing Wing Hydra Bane, then it would have just come down to like understanding how to read compositions. But like your creep spread's amazing. Your macro of your injects could be a little bit better. Like, it's not bad. It's definitely not bad. But like your larva usage throughout the game, I do see improvement that could be utilized there, like a little bit. But definitely not bad. It's definitely like diamond level capable of your macro, like your larva usage and shit like that. But your reactionary scouting and your scouting in general is not of diamond caliber yet. I would say, like, it doesn't matter where I put you. It would be platinum or below, anywhere in that range, because there is no scouting in reactionary play. So that's your biggest thing you need to work on right now, is how to react to people and how to take advantage of people when you see potential there. Like, if you see 4 cannons not playing standard anymore, but they're not playing safe standard anymore, but instead playing a little greedier because there's nothing he can do to you. So work on that. Work on trying to understand what shit costs and how to read builds, and your gameplay will go to the next level. But your overall macro level here is definitely carrying you. It's good. I'm glad it's like this already. Keep up. If you can just maintain the macro you can already do and add in good scouting to it, you will advance further. And then from this point on, you could also go into a hive. You could go into a greater spire. You could go broodlords if you wanted to. You could you have your upgrades are great. You could go into you could even go, literally at this point, you could even go into Ultralisk if you wanted to. If you don't see your opponent having a bunch of Immortals, Ultras actually are quite good in ZvP. If they have a lot of Immortals, though, probably don't make them. But again, that's reactionary play right there. But if you're giving yourself max level Carapace, and you have level 3 melee Adrenal as well, like, you could go Ultras too if you wanted to. It is an option. So just know you have a lot of options, and you should use them by reacting to what he does. Try to make an army you think is going to be good. The only way I'm going to tell you right now, this is the last thing I'm going to say, and then we'll call it here. The only way Ling Hydra Bane all game will work, because some Zergs out there will be like, well, I go Ling Hydra Bane, and sometimes I win, and sometimes I lose. I don't really understand why is it good and why is it bad? I don't get it. Ling Hydra Bane only works when you can do one of 2 things. Number 1, you starve them. You don't let them have as much money as you. So even though you might take worse trades than him, you might lose 5,000 resources and he might only lose 3,000 every time you guys fight. You have more money than he does, so he can't keep up with you. And you can just keep remaxing over him, and you starve him by not allowing him to expand, and eventually you run him over. That is one way it wins. The other way that Ling Hydra Bane wins is it has correlation to the first way, but you pile the pressure on before they max. Like, you just never let them max at all. You need to basically continuously pressure them so that you starve them and you never let them get high supply. Because once you let someone get to a death ball that is better than Lingbane Hydra kind of drops off a cliff. It is a mid-game army. It is not a late-game army. So you need to play heavy in the mid-game, and you need to control the mid-game if you never want to get off of it. If you lose control of the mid-game, and your opponent is actually at a point now where he's got good economy, and he also has a good-sized army, the only way you can win that game at that point is honestly to base trade. So if you're at a point where you're like, fuck, he's on 4 bases, I'm on 4 bases. He's got a good army too. He's got like Immortal, Archon, Templar. His army's scary. Just fucking base trade him. Because if you can somehow get him to turn around, and then while he's in the middle of the map, he loses a bunch of his economy, and then maybe he starts trying to warp and shit at home to save it, and he loses those units too. You put him into an all-in. That is the only way you could win. Because you have a chance now to either eliminate all of his buildings, or you have a chance to make his army get scattered and really awkward, and maybe you run over pieces of it, and suddenly his maxed out good economy doesn't matter anymore because you base traded. So you have to control the game, and if you can't control it, and he does, you base trade. That's the only way this wins. Because if you go for a fight against a real strong army, a 200 supply of good AoE with Archon Immortal, or whatever, like some type of a strong ass Protoss army, a lot of Colossus, with sentries and shit, with stalkers. If you fight that in the middle of the map, where you both have a good economy, you will 100% lose, unless your opponent has the worst micro ever. Because what's going to happen is you're going to take way more inefficient trades than he will if he has a death ball compared to what you have, because Zerg's Hydra Bane, Ling Hydra Bane is not a death ball. It's a high mobility pressure army. If he has a death ball, he'll take a better trade than you, and then he'll remax faster than you, and you will die. So don't fight him if he has a death ball. Run around him. Otherwise, just kill his base over and over and over. Alright. Well, that about does it, guys. Hope you learned something. Thank you for watching another replay analysis. Again, this has been a diamond level lesson. So, good luck to you out there. Everyone who's going to try, use this to improve. Or if you want to watch more of these, I have many, many more videos out there. You can watch many more of them. But thanks. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you in the next one. Until next time, good luck. Have fun. Stay healthy. Stay happy. Take it easy. And peace. Later, guys.
Appreciate your time, dude. Def wouldn't have made it this far without your help.
Hey, C9, thank you for the 50, man. You're a fucking boss. That's our boy right there. That's Catalyst. Catalyst with the tip at the end. God damn. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate you. All right, now I'm out for real, guys. Good luck in your games. Peace. Catalyst, you're a fucking boss. Thank you, guys.